And speaking of reality TV, I've decided to go back to the Braxtons because remember last season I was a friend to the show.
Okay, congratulations.
Yes.
So apparently when it comes down to the Braxtons coming out with the season 2, production definitely put a pause on it due to all the sisters getting into it with Tamar. And for those who don't know, Tamar is not a friend of the show this season. She came on as like a main character or main cast member, whatever the hell you want to call it, right? But she decided to bring on Ashley. And for those who don't know, Ashley is their niece from their brother, Michael.
Welcome back to StarHush, where the tea never sleeps. And today, Trina is throwing some serious heat Tamar's way. Yep, Ms. Braxton is getting called out for allegedly getting their entire show shut down because of her wild antics. And let's just say, things behind the scenes are getting real messy. Apparently, the tension between Tamar and Trina has gone from low-key beef to straight-up scorched earth in just a few months, and now the whole show might be on the chopping block. Word on the street is producers are seriously thinking about pulling the plug because the energy is just way too hectic. And that's wild, because let's be real, producers usually love a little drama to spice things up. So now everybody's asking, what exactly did Tamar do this time? Well, insiders are saying that Tamar was the one who aired out Trina's ex for allegedly being involved with younger women. Yep, Tamar pulled the curtain back on some personal stuff, and it did not sit well with Trina at all. If there's one thing we all know about Trina, it's that she rides hard for her man, no matter what. So to have Tamar put that on blast, that definitely set it all off. But it doesn't end there. Tamar is also allegedly accusing Trina of trying to turn the other Braxton sisters against her, basically icing her out of the family circle. And now, folks are starting to wonder, is Tamar really being pushed out of her own bloodline? Or is she just stirring the pot and playing victim like she's done before? The drama hit a whole new level when reports came out saying Toni Braxton herself had enough and straight up walked off the set during filming. Yep, the eldest Braxton dipped out mid-taping, and sources say she was done dealing with the nonstop chaos. According to an insider, Toni Braxton walked off the set of taping the upcoming season of The Braxtons. The Grammy-winning singer is officially over the sister drama. She said that after Tracy passed, they all made a promise to get along, but now things are even worse. That part is what hit fans the hardest, because it's true. The Braxton sisters had promised each other to stick together after losing Tracy. But now, that promise seems like it's gone out the window and the family is more divided than ever. So let's clear something up real quick. Some folks were out here trying to make it seem like all the drama had to do with Toni. But let's be real. This whole mess is actually about Tamar and Trina. And yeah, Tawanda's name does pop up in the middle of it, but make no mistake. This storm is mostly swirling around Tamar and Trina. Now, this tension ain't brand new. The chaos between those two has been bubbling for a while now, and it all hit a breaking point last season. The current series, The Braxtons, has been airing for a minute, and anybody watching can see the tension is real. It's not just shade being thrown, it's straight up emotional warfare every episode. And sure, every sister had their fair share of drama, but the vibe between Tamar and Trina, it's just off. This ain't some typical sibling spat. Nah, this goes deeper than that. These two have been carrying tension that even therapy couldn't fix. And what makes it even more heartbreaking is that the new season focuses a lot on honoring their sister Tracy, who passed in 2022. You'd think losing a sister would pull them closer, but instead, it's tearing them further apart. To try to heal, the sisters have been attending group grief counseling sessions, and the cameras caught everything. They sat down with a therapist named Spirit, who tried to help them unpack all their emotions and work through the pain. But even in the middle of healing, the drama didn't stop. Tamar and Tawanda had a moment that made everyone in the room pause. Tamar straight up called out Tawanda, accusing her of not putting in any real effort to maintain their relationship. Meanwhile, Tawanda stood her ground, saying she was done stretching herself thin and needed to put her mental peace first by setting boundaries. And now, they barely speak at all. According to Tamar, The only time Tawanda even answers her calls or responds to her texts is when the cameras are around. And that's where the real issue lies. Because to Tamar, that feels fake. It's not just about miscommunication, it's about feeling disrespected. As Tamar put it, it's a matter of respect. I respect where people are, but between all the cold shoulders and back and forth energy, it's clear that this family still has a lot of wounds that haven't healed.
It's a matter of respect. I respect where people are. That's just it. I respect where people are. I don't engage. I don't pour into certain types of energy. I make different choices in my life. And that's just where I am. But this is TV, John. outside of yesterday and today, when was the last time you talked to me? I don't recall. It wasn't my birthday because you didn't call me. Your birthday's September. Here we are in March. I am in this space. I am in a space of I'm just focusing on my relationship and whoever's in my household. I'm focusing on my children. I'm focusing on my relationship.
In your household? Tony's in your household?
They call me. I talk to them every day.
Girl, you don't answer the phone.
That's
Girl,
not true.
stop.
Let's be specific. Did you call me yesterday?
I did.
Did I answer it?
Well, because we're taping now.
No. No, ma'am. No, ma'am. When you called me, every time you called,
that is not
every
the truth.
time you called, I answered. Every time you text, I answer. That's a fact.
Okay.
That's a fact.
So I'm a liar.
No, you said that. I didn't call you that. That's the word that you're using.
Now, it's one thing to have family drama behind closed doors, but when it spills out in front of cameras and fans, the tension hits a whole new level. And trust, viewers have been picking up on that awkward energy between the sisters. Every scene feels like it could explode at any second. At this point, it's honestly hard to tell if they even want to fix things or if they've just accepted that their bond might never go back to what it used to be. One thing's for sure though, this situation is getting heavier by the day, and something tells me it's only gonna get messier from here. Remember last year when Tawanda hopped on Instagram Live trying to clear the air about where she stands with Tamar? Yeah, she wasn't holding back. She said, I wanna clear up some discrepancies though. Like she was ready to set the whole record straight. Let's just say that live didn't exactly bring peace. It only stirred the pot even more.
I want to clear up some discrepancies though. These people asking me, hey guys, have you spoken to Tamar? You guys talking to Tamar? You talk to Tamar? Of course. As I stated before, regardless on what happens, if any of my sisters call me, I'm going to pick up the phone and answer. If they need me, if they text me, I'm going to respond. And that's just the bottom line. That's just what it is. However, I am sensitive to other people's boundaries, and I respect people's boundaries regardless on what it is. If I agree or not, I'm going to respect your boundaries. If you say you don't feel like it or you don't want to beg, you want to do this, guess what? I'm going to respect your boundaries by not crossing those lines. That's just it. And that's it. You know? If this person said, you act like you hard, you got a wall that makes it seem like you don't care. It's not that I don't care. It's not that. What it is that I have respectfully learned to compartmentalize the things that is more important. And it's not important for me to do anything other than to protect my peace. That's it. That's just it.
The comment section turned into straight chaos after Tawanda's live. Folks were calling her out heavy, saying she sounded jealous of Tamar's come up. Let's be real. Tamar's been building a solid career for years, from chart-topping albums to reality shows, talk shows, and tours. She's been on her grind and cashing big checks. She's been booked and busy, no question about it. Tawanda's out here working too, but the internet doesn't care about nuance. People pick their sides real fast, and a lot of them were not in her favor. Tamar's fans went in, saying Tawanda only went live to throw slick shade at her sister because deep down she couldn't handle Tamar being the standout star. But if there's one thing about Tawanda, she's not about to let social media tear her down without swinging back. She saw the comments and she responded with heat. She clapped back hard at Tamar's fan base, saying they were twisting everything and trying to create drama where there wasn't any. And baby, when she responded, she didn't hold anything back. Tamar's fans thought they were dragging her, but Tawanda flipped the whole situation and gave them that verbal smoke.
You're right, the show's supposed to do it because it's supposed to show real life family. We have a real life family, and real life family goes through real life situations. You're not going to get along all the time. You're not going to see eye to eye all the time, and everybody has their own journey, period. That's just it. So if you come on here talking about, oh, Tawanda is jealous, she's so jealous. How can I be jealous of one sister and not jealous of Toni Braxton?
When Tawanda tied the knot just a few days ago, guess who was completely left off the guest list? Yep, Tamar. And this wasn't no accidental mix-up either. Sources say it was intentional, loud, and clear. After all the chaos last season, fans thought the sisters were finally trying to move forward and act like grown women. But nope, things clearly didn't calm down behind the scenes. Word on the curb is that the drama got so out of hand during taping that production had to slam the brakes. According to a report, filming for the Braxtons was paused after a fiery argument between Tamar and the rest of the sisters. Now, season 2 is still expected to drop this summer, but after all this mess, nobody knows if it'll actually happen on schedule. At first, everyone assumed the blow-up was between Tamar and Tawanda since they've been clashing nonstop. But then, Trina jumped in and flipped the whole narrative. She posted a cryptic message that had fans talking, "To everyone who has distanced themselves from me, kindly stay there." Whew. Shade served ice cold. So what went down between Tamar and Trina to make things this tense? The buzz is that their niece Ashley exposed some serious skeletons about Trina's late ex-husband Gabe. Ashley allegedly told Trina straight up that Gabe had crossed some serious lines and was acting inappropriate. But instead of backing her up, Trina reportedly stood by her man, even knowing what he was accused of. Now let's be real, Gabe, rest his soul, was no angel. He was unfaithful for a big chunk of their 12-year marriage, and at one point Trina even stepped out herself. Toxic doesn't even begin to cover the mess they had going on, but Tamar allegedly siding with Ashley and bringing it all back up again? Yeah, that's what really set Trina off. No matter how wild things got between them, somehow they always ended up circling back to each other. And of course, all that messy energy played out right in front of the cameras on Braxton Family Values. But let's keep it real. When the gossip hit that Gabe might have had his eye on Ashley, nobody was totally shocked. Gabe had a rep for not being able to keep his focus where it should have been. For those who might not know, Ashley Braxton is the daughter of Michael Braxton, the older brother of the famous Braxton sisters, and she started gaining serious attention online when she dropped a bombshell story that rocked the whole family dynamic. According to Ashley, one of her aunts didn't just ignore what was going on, she straight up sided with her husband and tried to twist everything around, making Ashley look like the problem. It was wild. Ashley, who's now 32, said this all happened when she was just 16. She was just visiting her aunt like any regular family visit, nothing weird expected. But during that stay, her aunt's husband allegedly started acting in a way that made her super uncomfortable. Things didn't just stay awkward though. Ashley claims it got worse when the man started sending her inappropriate messages. No teenager should ever have to deal with that, especially from a grown man who's part of the family. Eventually, Ashley went back home feeling disturbed and confused, but the truth didn't stay hidden. Her stepmother somehow came across those disturbing messages and immediately took action. She went straight to Ashley's father, Michael Braxton, and showed him everything. And let's just say, he did not take it lightly. Michael, furious and concerned, reached out to his sister, Ashley's aunt, expecting the family to handle the issue seriously. But instead of listening, stepping up, or holding her man accountable, Ashley says her aunt completely flipped the script. Instead of protecting her niece, she defended her husband, pushed Ashley out of the picture, and left her isolated from the rest of the family. That moment wasn't just betrayal, it was a turning point. Ashley said it broke her trust in the family and made her feel like she was being punished for telling the truth. So here's where the whole thing takes a sharp left. Ashley, the niece of the Braxton sisters, finally decided to speak up after keeping quiet for years. And what she revealed had folks shook. She claimed her stepmom and dad found disturbing messages between her and one of her aunt's husbands, messages that had no business being sent to a teenager. According to Ashley, things were way out of pocket, and she was just 16 when it all went down. At first, her aunt was supportive, crying with her, checking in, doing what family is supposed to do. But Ashley says that didn't last long. As time passed, her aunt's energy started changing. She became distant, cold, and eventually flipped the whole situation around. Ashley said she started feeling like the blame was being put on her, like she had somehow invited the attention. At 16, make it make sense. Now fast forward to present day. Ashley says therapy helped her see that the way she was treated wasn't just unfair, it was damaging. She realized the weight she'd been carrying wasn't hers to hold in the first place, and while opening up helped her heal, it also opened old wounds. She shared how wild it was to talk to other women who had been through similar situations. They were able to relate, but in the most heartbreaking way. And let's be real, she never dropped any names. Not once did she say which aunt it was, but internet detectives wasted zero time trying to piece it all together. The moment her story hit the timeline, fans started connecting dots and pulling out receipts like they were on payroll. They went straight to work, calculating the timeline, looking at who was married to who back in the day. Here's what we know. The incident happened over 15 years ago. At that time, Trina was married to Gabe. Tamar was with Daryl Allenby. Tracy had Kevin, and Tawanda was with Andre. So the list of who it could be is short, but still wide enough to keep folks guessing. And since Ashley didn't name names, probably to protect herself from more family fallout, it left everything wide open to interpretation. But the fans, they weren't letting this slide. They went into full investigation mode. People started rewatching old episodes of Braxton Family Values, analyzing clips, interviews, and even backstage footage, anything to catch a look, a side eye, or a shady comment that could expose the truth. Folks were convinced they could solve the mystery before Ashley ever needed to say a name. And considering how much Braxton family business has already been aired out on TV, it didn't take long for the speculation to hit another level. There was no shortage of breadcrumbs, and the internet wasted no time picking them up. The biggest clue Ashley gave, she said the man who made her uncomfortable was showing similar behavior on television. And that one line right there got people connecting dots faster than ever. Anyone who watched Braxton Family Values already knows the sisters have all had their share of drama, but not all of them had it playing out as loud and messy as one in particular. That's when fans locked in on Trina. Back when the alleged incident took place, Trina was married to Gabe Solis, and their relationship, nothing but explosive. They had one of the most chaotic storylines on the show. The whole world watched their marriage unravel episode by episode, with Gabe constantly doing things that had viewers in disbelief. Cheating, repeatedly, flirting and chatting online with other women. Caught red-handed, his actions weren't hidden. They were front and center on national television. Trina, for her part, was open about the pain and betrayal she felt, but things got so out of control that even she admitted to stepping out too. It became this cycle of drama, cheating, and emotional distance that played out like a reality TV soap opera. So when Ashley dropped that detail about the man behaving the same way on TV, fans immediately started side-eyeing Gabe. The timeline lined up, the public scandals matched, and the uncomfortable patterns, all there. Plus, Gabe had a long-standing rep for being way too flirty for a married man. Even die-hard viewers remembered scenes where his boundaries were all over the place. He was never one to hide the fact that he had a wandering eye, which only made the theory stronger in the eyes of fans digging through past episodes. What really added fuel to the fire? The fact that Ashley specifically said she was around 16 when it happened, and people quickly went back to check the Braxton family timeline. Sure enough, Gabe and Trina were still together back then, and their relationship had already been labeled toxic by both fans and cast members alike. With all these puzzle pieces fitting too perfectly, the internet came to its own conclusion, without Ashley needing to say a name. Now let's keep it real. Trina wasn't the only one married to a man with questionable behavior back then. Honestly, if you look back at it, almost every one of the Braxton sisters has been caught up in some kind of messy love story, whether they were getting cheated on, doing the stepping out themselves, or just stuck in nonstop arguments and drama. Their relationships have always been a wild ride. And if we're being completely honest here, that pattern of chaos didn't just pop up out of nowhere. It runs deep. That dysfunction, it didn't start with them. A lot of fans believe it all traces back to the woman who raised them, Mama Evelyn Braxton. Now don't get it twisted. Evelyn is a strong woman, no doubt, but her own history with their father, Michael Braxton Sr., was full of pain and betrayal. He had a reputation for stepping outside their marriage multiple times, and Evelyn carried that hurt with her for years. Even after the divorce, she wasn't shy about dragging him publicly. She made it clear she never fully forgave him for putting her through that heartbreak. If you ever watch Braxton Family Values, then you already know Evelyn never played when it came to cheating. She's spoken out many times about how much she despised unfaithful men, and when she went off, she went off. Her confrontations with Michael Sr. were intense, raw, and unforgettable. The pain in her voice was real, and so was the bitterness. But here's the thing, all that anger didn't just stop with her. It trickled right down into her daughters' lives too. The way Evelyn handled her own relationship struggles ended up shaping how her girls approached love, loyalty, and betrayal. It was like history repeating itself in every generation. So when people say the apple don't fall far from the tree, this situation is a textbook case. The Braxton sisters witnessed firsthand how destructive love could be, and in many ways, they ended up following in those same footsteps, getting into relationships that mirrored the emotional roller coaster their parents went through. And that brings us full circle, because once fans pieced together all the clues Ashley dropped, the puzzle finally made sense. Based on the timeline, the relationship history, and all the public drama we saw on TV, people are now convinced that the Aunt Ashley was talking about is none other than Trina Braxton. So Ashley didn't straight up name names, but let's be real, she didn't need to. Her clues had the internet sleuths clocking it fast. She mentioned the person being on TV and operating in the same spirit. And when one commenter said, "Sounds like Trina and Gabe," Ashley hit that like button without hesitation. Then another person added, "I definitely know it was Trina and Gabe. Gabe tried to fly out my cousin, booked a hotel near ATL Airport, and blocked me when I tried to warn her." And yup, Ashley liked that one too. So even though Ashley stayed low-key, her likes spoke volumes. The internet caught the vibe, and it didn't take long before people started connecting dots and calling it what it was. Let's be real. Gabe had a history of doing the most on camera, so it's not a reach to assume Ashley's story lined up with that messy past. Now here's the unexpected twist. Tamar, the one everyone always pegs as the wild card, is the only sister standing 10 toes behind Ashley. Yes, Tamar. She's reportedly the only one showing Ashley support and even wants to bring her onto the show to share her story. And Trina? Ooh, she's not feeling that at all. Word on the street is Trina is furious about the whole situation. She already knows how it'll make her look, especially if the show dives deep into Gabe's past and how she allegedly sided with him, even when things were out of line. That's why insiders say this whole feud between Tamar and Trina popped off heavy, and now filming for the Braxtons has been paused. Yup, the drama was that serious. And guess who's catching all the blame from the rest of the sisters? Tamar. They're saying she's the one stirring the pot, but some fans are calling her the only one being real about it. Either way, the fallout has put the entire show at risk, just months after they promised to be more united in honor of Tracy's memory. Sad part? That promise went straight out the window. Instead of healing, it's just more fighting, more secrets, and now the whole family brand is in limbo. So what do you think? Was Tamar wrong for trying to help Ashley speak her truth? Should Trina be held accountable for what happened back then? Or is this all just a case of family wounds being ripped open on camera once again? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, smash that like button, and make sure to subscribe for more tea you won't find anywhere else. I'll catch you in the next one, my stars and hushers.